myself on the face. Valentine's Day. I thought it was just Lunar New Year. How come they have two holidays on the same day? Boy, what a convergence. Anyway, it was St. Val's Day. Who better to know it than the French when it comes to l'amour? So celebrating with a big love parade down Gambetta Square in Paris with a nod to the incoming Year of the Tiger as well. Hence the red there. There you go. In Peru, more than 100 couples celebrated by exchanging wedding vows during a mass ceremony in Lima, the capital. And love also in the year in the Mideast as Iraqis and Iranians headed to the shops to buy gifts for loved ones despite post-election turmoil dampening the mood in Iran. Not everybody is happy to share in love, though. Up to 300 Pakistan students protested against Valentine's Day in Karachi.
We are against Valentine's Day. We are here to protest. Obscenity in the name of Valentine's Day should finish. This is not an Islamic thing. We have lots of Islamic festivals. Why we should celebrate this?
Okay, no dozen roses for her, apparently. As thoughts turn during this winter chill to spring and warmer weather ahead, it won't be long before it gets sweltering and we get the urge to quench our thirst by cracking the top on a cool one. For those who find the off-the-shelf variety lacking, taking it into your own hands is exactly what one person here in Hong Kong decided to do. Meet Pierre Cataret. He's a pilot for Hong Kong's Cathay Pacific Airways. In his long career with the airline, he's flown all over the world, and he says he loves beer. Presumably, he's tried beers from all parts, but he decided that here in Hong Kong, he just couldn't find one that he liked.
I like good beer, and for me, good beer is not what you can get in Hong Kong. So when I came to Hong Kong, I had the idea of actually making it myself. If you can't find it, do it yourself.
Last July, he decided to kickstart his own microbrewery. And talk about micro, he only makes around 1,000 pints in each batch. But in this case, small could be beautiful.
It's a real ale that's produced locally in Lantau. Nothing else like it on the market. And it brings so many customers in.
Toby Cooper manages a pub called The Globe right in central Hong Kong. He says that selling Typhoon 8 at his pub will bring in a whole new range of customers, and he's not the only one who agrees.
Normally in Hong Kong, the beer is made in China, artificially carbonated, and has a different feeling to it. So I think probably in the next few months we can have it in our outlets on tap. And also the taps are hand-pulled, so it's very different than the other taps. Eventually to have a Lan Kwai Fong kind of Lan Kwai Fong beer brewed out there in Lantau would be very nice.
The Lan Kwai Fong Group, the developer of Hong Kong's main food and entertainment district catering to expats, launched its own private label lager back in '05, but it's also looking to cooperate and sell Typhoon 8 as well. Back to our pilot, Pierre. His microbrewery is only the second one in Hong Kong. He's convinced there's plenty of room to grow. In fact, he's already experimenting with different blends of hops to develop new brands and new tastes. Meantime, he's counting on Typhoon 8 to take these shores by storm. Bernard Lowe, Bloomberg News, Hong Kong. So is it a novelty or does it have a place on the market? Let's put that question to our New Year guest, J.R. Robertson, El Grand Holdings Managing Director. They run grappas and the Hong Kong Brew House, which is one of the biggest watering halls in Lan Kwai Fong. J.R., Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Bernie.
Microbrews. Now, I come from the Pacific Northwest. Well, we got tons and tons and tons.
Oregon, that's the home of microbrews.
Yeah. But in a place like Hong Kong, I don't know. It's kind of far in between. What do you think?
Well, we handle a lot of different microbrews that we sell in our pubs, and we have a number of pubs. The Hong Kong Brew House, we'll stick with that one for example. And they're quite popular. There's a real following. There's a lot of American guys that come through, and then we have some from the UK as well. And there's a lot of Brits that like these products. So it's a little bit different because the average punter in Hong Kong is basically drinking basic lager. But this has a lot more flavor, limited shelf life, but it's doing very well. And there is a building following here in Hong Kong.
Where's the market gone from, say, 10, 20 years ago to where it is now? It's still a drop in the bucket. It's still single-digit market share, isn't it?
Well, I would say so, and particularly in the U.S., where they had a huge rise, excuse me, a huge rise in the number of microbrewers, and then when you go down to the Safeway or whatever and you see these things on the shelf, and all of a sudden you've got 200 or 300 brands, and there's 6 of this and 12 of that, and the punters become completely confused, and they end up going back to Budweiser and the like.
Yeah. Is it the stuff of expats, though? Because I got to be honest with you, most of the time, if I go to dinner and I want a beer, like I'm eating Sichuan chili crab or something like that, I go, what kind of beers do you have? It'll be Carlsberg, Heineken, Tsingtao, and if I'm lucky, and San Miguel, and if I'm lucky, Harbin beer. That's about it. I can count them on one hand.
You got it. And if you go to our place and look at the menu, we title all of those under the category of boring beers. And then if you go, it's boring beer. And if you go further down the menu, you see all the different countries and places we actually bring them in from. And they're quite popular. But I agree with you that it has not gotten into the Szechuan restaurants and the spicy Chinese restaurants or whatever. I think that there's a much bigger market, and it's there. It's just going to take a while to come up.
In terms of, well, you could argue that, you know, San Miguel, with a big operation here in Hong Kong, they make beer right across the border, and you just get, you know, truckloads of the stuff in. Does it make sense? Does it make business sense? I mean, at Hong Kong Brew House, I don't know how many beers, presumably more north of 100. Right? Are these all good propositions, or are there loss leaders in order to create a menu offering that size with as many choices as they are for the punters there?
Well, I think that part of it is the game. You do have to have the menu, and you have to be able to say we have 100 different beers there so that there's an attraction. But at the end of the day, there's, just as you named the Budweisers and the Heinekens and whatever, the same in the microbrews. There's probably 8 or 9 from London Pride, Brooklyn Lager, Chimay, a lot of these things that are the ones that really monopolize the sales. So you might have just 2 or 3 in a week of one, and 50, 60 in some of the other ones. So there are some loss leader categories.
What's your involvement? I understand you have some historic involvement in the microbrew space here in Hong Kong. Is that correct?
Well, we have a company that is the distributor for the Hong Kong Brewery, which is a competitor of the Typhoon. It's a bit of a larger place that's down in Aberdeen, and they produce Hong Kong beer. They have their own label, Hong Kong beer, and 3 or 4 other labels that they make. We distribute some of those products for them.
And what are you doing with me on a holiday here? I would think that you'd be partying hardy in Lang Kwai Fong, or have they not really gotten going yet?
I told you it's a loss of face for both of us. Me because I can only get on the show on a holiday. Me because I'm the only one you can find today.
Hey, another holiday, and the day is young as it is. Okay, J.R., thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
We'll go for a brew. J.R. Robertson from El Grande. El Grande or El Grande?
El Grande.
El Grande. El Grande Holdings. Hasn't been that long since I've been in America. Thanks a lot for joining us. Happy New Year, everybody. That'll do it for this edition of AC. We're back usual time tomorrow. Still a holiday in Hong Kong, but no rest for the weary.
Asia Confidential was brought to you by BNP Paribas, the bank for a changing world.
Central banks are printing more and more money. If you do not trade Forex with Interactive Brokers, please see our free quotes on your iPhone or BlackBerry. Compare them to your broker's quotes. Guess who has the better prices. Interactive Brokers. Stocks, options, futures, Forex, bonds. Worldwide from one account.
The world's first waterfront penthouse with a private yacht garage. Over 800 square meters of indoor and outdoor living space with sweeping panoramas of seascapes and mountains. Arguably the best